Now, I don't know if you know about me, but I'm a big Dave Chappelle fan. Such a big fan that I went out, protested with a certain sign, which you might be able to see. There it is, the We Like Jokes shirt. Now available at Killdozer.Industries. You don't have to buy my t-shirt. I just made it for myself. Point is, I love Dave, but some people do not. Other performers, entertainers in Hollywood are coming out trying to destroy Dave Chappelle. And one of the ones coming at him, I hate to say it, one of the most powerful men in Hollywood, a true force to be feared. One of the greatest actors of all time, Wil Wheaton. Wil Wheaton's coming for Dave. We're going to get right into it. Before we do, don't forget to subscribe. Click that button. Join the channel. Join the Veto Army. And we're going to keep this thing plowing forward into 2022. What are we going to do in 2022? Well, we are going to the Netflix is a Joke Festival from April 29th to May 8th, 2022, which will be hosted by the great Dave Chappelle. Dave is going to be hosting Netflix's comedy special. Now, this is kind of a big deal because the controversy was, is Netflix going to stand by Chappelle? And it's very easy to say, well, we don't want to publicly support him, but we'll just, quietly leave the special up and we're not going to make any statements. Having him host your comedy special is saying, no, we stand by him 100%. And this, of course, comes following his controversial comedy special, The Closer, where he made some comments about the transgender community and the ongoing debate of, is it okay to make jokes about a so-called marginalized community? What kind of jokes can you make? Is it, hurting these people, getting these people killed to make jokes about them? That's what they'll claim. And I think you guys know my stance. I don't think anybody dies from the jokes that Dave Chappelle makes. You would be hard-pressed to find someone who died because of a joke that Dave Chappelle made. I could be wrong, and I have an open mind, but I think it's frankly an absurd accusation. Now, well, obviously fans like me, fans of Dave Chappelle, are excited for this comedy show. I might even, if it's going to be in LA, I might be able to get a ticket. We'll see. I don't know how much it's going to cost to get in, but that would be great. Taking over 25 different venues. Oh, so it's going to be a bunch of different spots. So I guess comedians are going to be performing all around, and they're probably going to record all the performances, put them together. Hey, maybe I can see Seinfeld in action. But you know who's not going to be at these shows, as we've discussed? Wil Wheaton. Wil Wheaton. Now, I actually posted this story online on my Twitter, and some people were going, who the hell is Wil Wheaton? That's actually a pertinent question these days. All real quick, Wil Wheaton is famously known as Wesley Crusher. Wesley Crusher was the kid actor on The Next Generation. Now, I actually think Wesley Crusher gets a bad rap. People did not like the character. I think it's not Will's fault, and I think they could have actually done more with that character. I thought he was an interesting character, but they wrote him off the show because people were getting annoyed by him. They didn't know what to do with him, which I think was a misstep. I don't hate Wesley Crusher, but I do hate Wil Wheaton. Wil Wheaton is kind of an idiot. So Wil Wheaton nowadays, oh my God, is this true? It might just be because I'm subscribed to myself. If you search for Wil Wheaton, one of my old videos where he was fighting with PewDiePie shows up. This is a great video, 300,000 views over on the main Veto channel. You should check that out. So what Wil Wheaton is doing now is, because he's not talented enough to be a real actor, he hosts a Star Trek commentary show for Paramount Plus, trying to convince you to watch the bad Star Trek projects that they're putting together. And as we're going to kind of see, not to get too complicated about it, but Star Trek is, I hate using that word, woke. It's a woke show now. They have multiple transgender, gender fluid characters, which is fine. Star Trek has always been about exploring social dynamics or whatever, but the problem is that some of these people within these communities kind of get a stick up their ass about, you're not allowed to make jokes about us. Here's Will, and he's interviewing, I guess the show, again, has two different transgender actors now.
I'm really excited for everyone to be able to see him for who he really is.
There's, I'm a cishet white guy, so I'm just presuming, but I feel like you are providing representation for a lot of people who...
Okay, I did not cue this up. It is fascinating that I knew that this part, I did not know he goes, well, I'm just a cishet white guy. Look, I'm a progressive guy. I understand language changes. I don't think you're ever going to have me in a conversation with anyone going, Well, as a cis het, and here's where I think we land. I think I'm even going to give Wil Wheaton the benefit of the doubt, is that he's probably met people who've suffered, Nobody wants to be made fun of for... it's a bad still right there with the nose ring. Nobody wants to be made fun of for who they are, and I totally get that. And I think Will probably is somebody who's dealt with getting bullied for being the stupid kid actor on Star Trek, probably empathizes with them in some way. But we're talking about comedy, and you can't get mad at comedians for doing their jobs. Or can you? Well, Will did. Will's furious. Okay, now here's Wil Wheaton. Now, Wil Wheaton, again, has kind of morphed himself into being America's nerd. I don't accept him as America's nerd, but that's what he was trying to do. As you can see, he hosts a bunch of, like, board game type shows, and again, he's one of these... This is your identity, Nazi, whatever, get away from me guy. Okay. Why is that your identity? Why can't it be like, I'm the fun guy from Star Trek? Not, I'm out here fighting fascism. I know, everybody's a hero, including you, Will. Okay, so here's Will, who, again, is the kid from Star Trek. He was also in the movie Stand By Me. Good movie. Look, I'm not saying he wasn't a good kid actor, but you're nobody now, Will. Why don't you get off your soapbox? Why don't you just be fun? But let's see what he actually said. Okay, absolutely disgusted. Every single comedian who is on this bill should withdraw unless and until this despicable bigot is uninvited. I want to stop and comment on that, but I'm going to try and power through. My God. Any comedian who is part of this should be ashamed of themselves. Netflix may not believe in holding this piece of shit to account, but you all have to live with yourselves and the choices you make to perform with him. And fuck everyone at Netflix who is part of this. Trans rights are human rights, and words matter. Okay. First of all, calling Dave Chappelle a bigot. Let's just be real. Dave Chappelle's not a bigot. We know he's not a bigot. This man donates money to charity. This man is like a giving heart. Just because he disagrees on certain gender ideology type things, especially now, it's a constantly evolving concept. I mean, it used to be you went, well, a man can become a woman can become a man. Now you go, oh, well, there's 20 different genders. Next there's 100 different genders. You get access to any bathroom you want. You go to whatever prison you want. Like, these are new emerging topics. And anybody who goes, you're a bigot if you don't immediately pick one side, that side might be considered bigoted a week from now. You don't know. This is an evolving topic, so stop with this. Unless somebody comes out and they say, I want to see these people, dead, shot in the street, sure, that's bigoted. If they say, I want legitimate harm to come to these people, okay. I'm comfortable with calling that kind of person a bigot. But when Dave Chappelle says, I don't think gender is changeable, I think biological sex is very real. You don't get to go, what a bigot. What a bigot. No, this is a changing, evolving topic. And we need to be sensible about it. I'm sorry to get on a platform right now. I sound like Wil Wheaton, although I'm less angry. Now, the funny thing about this is that Will's is calling out comedians and telling them, you need to get off this booking. How dare any comedian agree to appear with Chappelle? Will, bro, what a place of privilege you're coming from, bro. Yeah, you still have enough clout to get yourself a Paramount Plus. You probably pull in a pretty little paycheck getting to host this stupid little Star Trek show. Let's not forget, Next Generation was syndicated, so you're still getting syndication checks every time Netflix plays, your show. Every time I stream an episode of Next Generation, you get a little check in the mail. So, to go out and tell comedians, a lot of whom I know comedians, and even the comedians who are going to appear on this Netflix special, they're not rich. A lot of them. Some of the top billers, sure. If you really want to come at Seinfeld, you might have a leg to stand on, where Seinfeld could afford to, I guess, take this principled stand you want people to take. But 90% of these comedians are living paycheck to paycheck, man. They're just busting their ass in the clubs. And they're not in a position to tell Netflix, sorry, I'm going to turn down a paycheck and massive exposure because I need to take a stand against one of the greatest black comedians of all time because he said one or two things about transgender people. Now, interestingly, it seems like Will heard this, you're a privileged piece of shit, from the comedian community, and he says, 12 hours later, an important follow-up thought, it's easy for me to sit in my chair and issue edicts about what other people should do. That's presumptuous and overwhelms a larger point that I made in a comment here. I withdraw that outburst or regret saying it, blah, 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 blah. I think what's funny is somebody on Twitter said, this is such classic Wil Wheaton, is to go on an angry tirade and then as part of the angry tirade, have an apology for half of the angry tirade. Like, this man does not think things through. I suffer from this as well, Will. I know I've many times typed out things I should not have typed. But you know what you do? You delete them. You sit back, you go, you know what, I was wrong. Any comedian wants to be with Chappelle, whatever. I disagree with Chappelle, but I'm not going to argue with his ability to host a comedy special. He's clearly an accomplished comedian. I think he can handle hosting a comedy special. I don't think he's a major bigot, but I do disagree with some of what he said. That's the funny thing, is if people were just very, very nuanced about this, if we weren't having, again, the protests of, oh my God, we have to shut down Dave Chappelle, we have to cancel Dave Chappelle. If it was just, we hear what Dave's saying, we think that this part of it is a little out of line, that it does not properly represent, the transgender community, that his thinking on this is a little outdated, I think people would listen. It's when you come out and you say Dave Chappelle is a hateful bigot and needs to be canceled. I don't know why I'm giving you guys PR advice, but it's never going to work. You're not big. Transgender community, everybody loves you. Not everybody loves you, but a lot of people love you, but I hate to say it. I honestly don't think people love you as much as we love Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's a national treasure. It's the same thing with J.K. Rowling. People love Harry Potter. I look at the transgender community, I'm like, why are you always picking fights with things that people love? Because you're going to lose. There are people out there who legitimately, if I told them Harry Potter is killing a kid every other week, every week J.K. Rowling goes out and shoots a kid in the head, I think there are still some Harry Potter fans that go, well, I just love Harry Potter. Like, you can't win the argument with the diehard Harry Potter fans, so why not just have a reasonable, common sense dialogue and say, here's what J.K. Rowling said that we have a problem with. We're not going to try and cancel her movie. We're not going to try and cancel her book. We just, want to have these discussions. We can't, though. We have to cancel people. Wil Wheaton says, my God, this guy has drank the Kool-Aid. I don't know what flavor Kool-Aid it is. The transgender flavored Kool-Aid. My God, the ignorant white privilege from so many cis-het white men here is just sickening. I'm going to argue you have, again, rich privilege, Will. You can just sit there. You have male privilege. You have all sorts of privileges that you are not acknowledging. Because I see a lot of biological women. I mean, just yesterday we saw a news article where a transgender swimmer is breaking women's records. Is smashing these long-standing records, this college swimmer. And biological women are going, I feel like we're being erased. I feel like there's no point in me being an athlete because I have no way to compete with these biologically male bodies. And yet we have, again, these guys with male privilege. They're never going to have to worry about anything like that. And they go, no, you're a bigot. Step out of line. Anyway, the ignorant white privilege for so many cis-het white men, blah, blah, blah. You're not the main character. What is this? Is this a new thing? Is this their new check your privilege? I keep hearing this from different activists. They keep telling me, you're not the main character. I hate to tell you, I am the main character. Look at me. Clearly. This is the main character. If anything, I'm the sidekick to the main character, and that's almost as good, and I'm fine with that. We cannot possibly understand what it's like to have our existence constantly attacked and threatened. Well, I won't get down that rabbit hole. Let's just say it's not as easy being a white guy as it used to be. We have the privilege of writing off bullying as just a joke because it doesn't really affect us. When an entire community of people are telling us that these jokes are hurtful and dangerous to them, we can choose to listen or we can choose to make excuses. Here's the thing. An entire community is not telling us this. Because I have talked to transgender people. I have talked to very influential transgender people. Blue check mark on their name on Twitter. Verified celebrity trans people. You would know their names if I told you their names. And I will not tell you their names because I've told them that I will keep their comments in confidence. And they have told me Dave Chappelle is fucking hilarious and I hate this current loud community of transgender people that make us look insane. They have said, these transgender people are perpetual victims. This is their words, not mine. They were much harsher than I would be. They're perpetual victims. They profit from the victimhood. It's how they elevate their status. It's how they define themselves. But to say that the entire transgender community hates Dave Chappelle is absolutely incorrect. I would go as far as to say that if you polled every single transgender person, the majority of them would be on Dave Chappelle's side. I could be crazy. But if anything, I would tell you this. It's not even anywhere close to 100%. You might have a 60-40, 70-30 split. So an entire community of people is not telling us that these jokes are hurtful. We can either choose to listen or we can choose to make excuses. I choose to listen to the ones who are coming to me and saying, Listen, man, I'm not so fragile that a Dave Chappelle joke destroys my life. I've had transgender people tell me, no, we love Dave, we love jokes, and we don't understand why the rest of the transgender community can't, just buck up. We make jokes about everybody in this country. It's part of what comedy is. So that's who I choose to listen to, Will. I mean, call me crazy, but the loudest people in the room do not define the dialogue. I choose to listen to people I love who are hurt by all of this. Those of you who are doing your did you watch it sea lioning, I did it, it isn't funny, I bet he didn't watch it. Or your it's just a joke, don't be so sensitive, dismissals are not welcome here, just go away and save me the hassle of blocking you. Look at all of this. This man does not shut up. There's people who are determined to defend and justify what I listened to and concluded was hurtful, transphobic, cruel rhetoric. He's got a whole story about I'm not reading this. Will. There's a certain brevity. Let's talk about comedy. Brevity is the soul of wit. Brevity is the soul of all things. If you want to tell me he's got a whole story about being in a locker room and somebody said something wrong, oh my God. This post is a trash fire of hateful garbage comments. I've restricted comments. I'm not the victim in this story. You know what's hilarious? A lot of people don't know about this. Is Wil Wheaton is actually hated by a great section of the transgender community. Because Wil Wheaton had a block list. I don't know if you know this little piece of technology. On Twitter, they made you could share your block list so that whoever you block on Twitter, everybody else can block the exact same group of people. You just copy and paste the list into your list of blocked users. Unfortunately, Wil Wheaton, his block list, he put a bunch of transgender, artists and influencers who I guess he thought were toxic people or whatever. But then it ended up that his block list, which was so wide, ended up getting, hundreds of these trans people blocked and labeled as abusers, and it ended up silencing them on Twitter. So now Wil Wheaton is considered a transphobic. Again, he had 3 million followers and he said, use my block list. Oh, by the way, hundreds of transgender people are going to disappear from your timeline. And of course, he's followed by all these influential media people. So all these transgender artists and creators were like, hey, how come I'm blocked? By all these executives in Hollywood and all these other places I could possibly get my work produced. And it's like, oh, well, because they're all using Wil Wheaton's block list. He ruined the careers of hundreds, thousands of people. Good work, Will. So what do we say ultimately about this? I mean, I'm going to say the same thing I've always said. We like jokes. Get the We Like Jokes t-shirt at killdozer.industries. I mean, I think I've made my point. What they're always going to say is that you are discounting an entire community, which is what he says. I want to take one more look at his exact statement, because this I think is the most important part. The most important part is when an entire community is telling us these jokes are hurtful. Well, an entire community is not telling us this. No community has ever been 100% united on any issue. And the transgender community is definitely not 100% united on whether or not Dave Chappelle is a bigot, or J.K. Rowling, or anyone else. Transgender people are all various individuals. They all have, I hate to say it, they're not a hive mind. I know you're a Star Trek guy. You know all about hive minds and AI and what. No, they're individuals, have individual opinions. And maybe you think I'm gaslighting you, lying to you when I tell you transgender people have told me they think Dave Chappelle's funny and he didn't say anything out of line. I swear on the grave of my father that transgender people have told me that they think the loud activist wing of the transgender movement is out of line, is demonizing comedians, is making the rest of them look bad. And I tend to agree. Again, I think if you're worried about stomping out bigotry, your target does not need to be Dave Chappelle. There are so many better targets out there. There are, right now, politicians, who are trying to make it illegal to dress as your chosen gender or whatever else, okay? And we have freedom in America. I can't tell you what you can or can't wear. Go nuts. If you want to look like these two beautiful lady men, I don't know which. I think they're in the middle. I think this one's a guy. I think they're gender fluid. See, I don't even know, but I support it. Do whatever the hell you want. I can't stop you. That's the most beautiful thing about America. And I think that we just need to stop using such insane rhetoric and have a dialogue. Let's just talk to each other. Let's just talk to each other. And you know what? At the end of the day, we might not agree on everything, but if we agree to say, I don't want to kill you, I don't want to hurt you, and I want you to have life, love, and liberty in your life, is that not the greatest compromise? If somebody says, you know what, I'm never going to truly think of you as a woman, but I want you to live your life the way you think you want to live it, I think that's what we want in this country, and I hope that's what we're getting towards. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, who do you think's in the right? Are you on the side of one of the greatest comedians of all time? Or are you on the side of the kid from Star Trek who now hosts a Star Trek commentary TV show? I'm not, you can be on his side. It's fine. It's just clearly his life's not going nearly as well as Dave Chappelle's. He's not a legendary figure. We got more videos coming soon. I want to thank everybody who subscribed to the Vito 2 experience. Vito 2 goes strong. We got more Vito 2 content coming your way. I love you all of you. Cis, het, transgender, gender, queer, all of you people. I just want you to be happy. That's all I care about, and that's all we need to say in this country and in the world. Be happy, live your life, don't hurt nobody. Simple as that.